Hey now, welcome back. SportsGossip.com podcast episode number 2. I'm your host, Kevin Friedman. I was not fired yet, so I'm back, and my job is to find 10 interesting stories on SportsGossip.com and give you my thoughts on those. As always, you can hit us up with tips. If you see LeBron James out jerking it in a parking lot, get a picture, take a video, send it to us. There's a link on our website. No tip is too small. If you see Mickey Morandini in line picking his nose at a Chipotle, take a picture. We want it. We'll post an article. You'll stay anonymous. Everybody's happy. Breaking news in the podcast industry. I was just voted the most handsome podcaster in America. Hey, congratulations to me. Only one episode and I've already won. I mean, come on. Give me some credit here. Woo! Let me check this. Checking the paper, see who gave me this. Now, obviously, whatever organization gave me this award has great taste. Let me just look it up, find out who it is. It is the Institute for the Blind. Institute for the Blind. Oh well, a win's a win. Let's go to the first story.
Let's do it!
One-handed draft hopeful Shaquem Griffin put up 20 reps on the bench press.
Thanks, Dave. That's my announcer, Smoking Dave. He's been smoking unfiltered cigarettes for 47 years, and he's still getting the job done. In case you're not familiar with this story, Dave was not mistaken. This man, Shaquem Griffin, has one hand. He was born with a birth defect, lost his left hand at age 4, and yes, he did 20 reps of 225 pounds at the NFL Combine. He played linebacker for University of Central Florida. He is expected to get drafted, and I hope he gets drafted by the Eagles, because on the first time he drops a ball on the left side of his body, you know he's going to the bench, and some Eagles fan's going to yell out, "Hey, buddy, can't you catch?" Next story. Hit it, Smoking Dave.
Lonzo Ball does not know what vindicated means.
So Lonzo hit 6 threes the other night in the Lakers' victory. He also hit the game-winning 3, and afterwards a reporter asked him if he felt vindicated. His answer? I only went to college for 1 year. I don't know what vindicated means. Now, while that is a little embarrassing, because that's a word I think maybe a 5th grader knows, at least he's honest. You got to give him credit for his honesty. And hey, if you're in the NBA, I mean, you don't need an education. You're making tons of money, and as long as you're smart with the money, you're going to be set. You don't have to, no words like vindicated, I guess. Now, the one I'm worried about is the middle brother. Now, I don't think he's going to play in the NBA. I don't think he's good enough. So I hope he knows the word vindicated, or at least has a better vocabulary, because unless his brothers are generous, he might need a job in the future. Smoking Dave, time to shine. What's next?
44-year-old Ichiro Suzuki close to signing with the Mariners.
Dave, you got the voice of an angel. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. As you know, Ichiro played his first 12 seasons with Seattle, well, 11 and a half before he was traded to the Yankees in the middle of the season. But last year, he hit .255 with 3 homers, 20 RBIs for the Miami Marlins. He only had 196 at-bats. In 2016, in 327 at-bats, at the age of 42, he still hit .291. So I can see why Seattle wants him. I could see why he would want to go back to Seattle and finish his career. And you can't blame him for wanting to keep playing. It's baseball, and as long as they'll take you, keep playing. That's what I say. Dave, take that cigarette out of your mouth, because it's time for you to do your job. Go!
Chicago Bears head coach had his eye on Mitch Trubisky.
If you go to sportsgossip.com and click on this article, you'll see a video of new Bears head coach Matt Nagy at the 2017 NFL Combine watching Bears quarterback Mitch Trubisky throw, and he has a look on his face like he wants to date the guy. I mean, he has the same look on his face that I have when I'm watching porn. It's pretty scary. Well, as you know, Matt Nagy is the Bears' new head coach, so he's going to have plenty of time to stare at Trubisky. Ryan Pace, the Bears' general manager, hired Nagy this offseason, and if he doesn't provide Nagy and Trubisky with some talent on offense, I guarantee that creepy smile by Nagy will disappear very quick. Now, I'm a Bears fan, and I got to say something about Ryan Pace. The guy has been a huge disappointment so far. He's been with the Bears since 2015, and he's drafted one wide receiver. That one wide receiver was Kevin White, who's played, 4 or 5 games his entire career? Oh, wait. In 2016, he drafted a wide receiver in the 7th round, and that wide receiver didn't make the team. And last year, he drafted a tight end in the 2nd round who barely gets on the field. And at the same time, he's letting Alshon Jeffrey just go as a free agent right to the Eagles for $16 million. He didn't want to spend that $16 million on a wide receiver. You know why? Because he wanted to spend it on Mike fucking Glennon. I mean, I don't get to thinking on the Mike Glennon thing. It boggles my mind. I would love to hear his explanation on why he went out last year and spent $16 million on Mike Glennon. If he thought Mike Glennon was going to lead the Bears to a winning season last year, he's a fucking moron. Everybody knew Mike Glennon stunk before the season started. Everybody knew he stunk years ago. He never was good. You're saying he was good when he's on Tampa Bay? You're insane. To give him $16 million and leave the Bears with no wide receivers and a bunch of bums, just infuriating. And then last year, after a handful of games, he realizes Glennon sucks. I better put in Trubisky. Trubisky's throwing to nobody. He's throwing to bums. How are you supposed to tell if a guy's good when he has no talent to throw to? And there's more on Pace. Pace decided, hey, let's save a couple bucks and cut Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould comes back last year and single-handedly beat the Bears. Single-handedly. And I got more on Pace. Peter King was in the draft room with the 49ers in 2017 while they were making that trade with the Bears when the Bears wanted to move up to get Trubisky, and it ended up costing them 3 draft picks. Peter King said the 49ers were laughing at the Bears. Laughing. The Bears are run by a pair of morons named Ted Phillips and George McCaskey, and I'm sick of it. I mean, they gave Pace an extension this offseason. I just listed all his screw-ups, and they gave him an extension. Ah!
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
I think Ted Phillips and George McCaskey are taking crazy pills. Next story.
Roger Goodell ran a 5.41 40-yard dash in a suit.
Now, I don't really care about Roger Goodell's 40 time, but the one thing I do care about with Roger Goodell is how the hell he makes so much money. I mean, he just signed a 5-year extension last December that can pay him $200 million if he hits his incentives and bonuses. $200 million for 5 years. He made $31.7 million in 2015. I mean, what justifies this guy's salary? I would love for someone to sit down and ask him what he does on a day-to-day basis that he makes that much money and he can justify it. I mean, I think he has incriminating pictures of every owner in the league. That's the only explanation. I just don't get it. It makes about as much sense as the Bears giving Ryan Pace an extension. Okay, before we get to our next story, we actually have a sponsor, so we'll be back right after these words.
You can be all the things you always wanted to be. Beautiful, sexy, easy as 1, 2, 3. Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul go, baby. Feeling oh so silky smooth. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul go.
I want to thank Soul Glow for being my sponsor. You could pick up your bottle of Soul Glow at your local bodega in Queens. All right, Smokin' Dave, that's your cue. What's the next story?
Le'Veon Bell says retirement sounds great as Steelers plan to place franchise tag on him again.
Bell was paid $12 million last season. He gets a 20% increase if he gets franchised again, so he'll be making $14.5 million if he accepts that franchise tag, which I think he'd be crazy not to. However, in a league where Mike Glennon gets paid $16 million, you think the best running back in the league would be paid a little more than that. Hell, Roger Goodell is getting $40 million a year, and Le'Veon Bell is struggling to get $15? I mean, this is crazy. What's even crazier is Bell is the highest paid running back by far. Devonta Freeman, who signed a contract last year with the Falcons, averages $8.25 million. He's the second highest paid running back in the league. So let me go over this again. Let me just get this straight. Mike Glennon's making $16 million. Roger Goodell's making $40 million. Le'Veon Bell's making $14 million. And Devonta Freeman's making $8 million. I mean, the value of the running back is lower than the value of the commissioner. It makes about as much sense as the Association for the Blind giving out a Best Looking award, which I still don't understand how I won. I mean, they can't see. What's next? I get Best Podcast by the Association for Deaf People? Speaking of my award, news is getting around and I'm getting congratulations from all over the board, from people on my Best Looking Podcaster award. We don't need to tell you who awarded it to me. That's beside the point. But I did win Best Looking Podcaster. I'm getting congratulations from many people, including this guy right here, your president, Donald Trump.
Hi, Kevin. I want to congratulate you on being named Best Looking Podcast. Yours, you are fantastic looking, and this is easily the best podcast ever.
Thanks, Don. People may not like Donald Trump, but you know what? He's got great taste in podcasts. Speaking of the best, I got the best announcer in the business, and here he is with our next headline. Dave?
Rockies hold on-field casting competition.
Well, first the Washington Nationals bring out camels for Hump Day last week.
Hump Day, yeah!
Okay. Now, it's the Rockies' turn as they have casting day. Asking me what casting is, it has something to do with fishing. I don't know. They all brought out fishing poles and were casting for something. You could check out the pictures, possibly a video, sportsgossip.com. Look for it yourself. One thing I can tell you is I once went on a fishing trip to Costa Rica to fish for tarpons. I was in the jungle of Costa Rica, and who happened to be on my trip but Doug Mankiewicz. He played first base for the Minnesota Twins in the 2000s, and I gotta say, the guy was by far the best fisherman I've ever seen in my life. Came back every night with huge fish. I caught nothing the whole time. So, these guys obviously like fishing. Baseball players are obviously good fishermen, based on my experience. Hit it, Dave!
Russell Wilson strikes out in a spring training game.
The Seattle Seahawks QB is with the New York Yankees for spring training, and he struck out in his first at-bat. Let's hope it's his only at-bat. Wilson has a 4-year, $87.6 million contract where he got a $31 million signing bonus, and he's playing baseball. If you ask me, it's pretty careless. I can't believe Seattle's letting him do this. I mean, what if he gets injured? I mean, you know, it's a big if. He's a very athletic guy. He's not an injury-prone guy, but if something happens, how stupid is it going to look? I mean, come on, get him out of there. On to the next story.
Chad Johnson left a $200 tip and a reminder that he once scored 3 touchdowns in a game.
This is definitely one you want to check out on sportsgossip.com. There's a picture of the bill by the waitress Talia. Well, let's hope she posted it and not Chad Johnson. I would love to know who posted this, but the bill was $44.82. Chad left a $200 tip, then put in quotes, "I love you," and wrote that he scored 3 touchdowns in a game. On September 21st, 2016, I just looked it up. There was an article saying Chad Johnson was too broke to pay his bills. Now he's leaving $200 tips? I don't get it. I don't know where he's making money from, since he's been retired from football for a couple of years, and he was broke since he retired from football. I don't know where he's making money, but I got a prediction. In 10 years, when you're walking down the street in Venezuela and you see a guy selling you oranges who told you he once scored 3 touchdowns in a game, that'll be Chad Johnson. Smokin' Dave, what's next?
Steph Curry's sister is almost married.
Yes, sad news. Steph Curry's sister, her name is Sidel Curry. She's Steph's youngest sister at age 23. She's getting married late in the spring. And that's upsetting to me because I would have married her, sight unseen. Even though I see her picture, she's a pretty good-looking girl. And now since I won Best Looking Podcaster, I bet I could have had a shot too. Our kids would have been the next NBA stars, guaranteed. I would have LeVar Balled them from day one. I would have named him Kevin Jr., Kevin Jr. Jr. LeVar would have had the Big Baller brand, the Triple B. I would have had the Triple K, KKK. Wait, I'm going to have to rebrand that one. But in all seriousness, congratulations, I guess, to her. You can check out her pictures on sportsgossip.com. And a reminder for all my listeners, if you know any superstar athletes with good-looking daughters, send them my way. Final story.
Now LeBron James wants his very own Oscar.
Well, Kobe Bryant won an Oscar on Sunday night for his short animated film, Dear Basketball. It's about 6 minutes long. I watched it. It was pretty great, actually. I was surprised. I didn't have high hopes, but I watched it, and it was excellent. It was scored by John Williams, the guy who did Jaws and Star Wars and does every big movie. Kobe got him as a good score. So Kobe got an Oscar, now LeBron wants one. I'll be honest, LeBron should worry about getting his 4th championship. I mean, Kobe, 5 for 7 in the finals, 5 wins and 7 tries. LeBron's 3 for 8. Before he starts worrying about anything Kobe Bryant, he should worry about his 4th championship. If he gets his 4th championship this year, it'll be the first time he gets one without another superstar on his team. Then I'll be impressed. Then he can really start talking about being in a conversation about being as good as Kobe. Till then, no chance. And don't even mention Michael Jordan and the name LeBron in the same sentence. Okay, that's going to wrap things up tonight. Dave, how many cigarettes did you smoke during this podcast?
11.
11 cigarettes in 16 minutes? That's impressive, buddy. I can't believe they still let you smoke in the studio.
I've been working here since 1968. One time one of the bosses came in here and told me to put out the cigarette, and I told him, my name's Smokin' Dave. You know what that means? Go fuck off.
Wow, that's a hell of a story. Great way to end the show. That's episode number 2 of SportsGossip.com's new podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Friedman. Thanks for joining me. I want to thank the Institute for the Blind for voting me most handsome podcaster in America. Thank you to Donald Trump for calling in. Smokin' Dave, thank you. And everybody, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to go to SportsGossip.com for these stories and more. We'll see you next time.